I've read a lot of books in my time. I'm a major horror fan, as you can see, but there is one story that I've read from this writer. Her name is like Frida McFadden. She's really known for a bunch of like thriller stories. Um, as you can see, I don't know if you can see it from the back, but I have like a whole collection, pretty much almost. I'm trying to collect more books of hers. There's one book though that I feel was a bit too extreme, and I do consider it to be very controversial compared to her other stories. And the book I'm going to be talking about today is called The Teacher. This book, guys, it's very hard to read. Like, look, I've read a lot of stories, right, that really got to me when it comes to horror books and all that. But this one, I do consider to be called like reality horror. To me, I'm not sure if that's like a real category or not, but this type of horror is stuff that takes place in real life, and it scares me so much because it can happen at any point in time, which is horrifying. The Teacher is about this wife. She's a mathematician. Her husband is an English teacher, I think. His name is Nate. And they are in a struggling marriage. She doesn't get why he doesn't love her anymore, and she's always like putting a lot of effort. She's always dolling herself up, but he doesn't want her. And you find out why, and it's just horrible. So Nate takes an interest in with one of his students, and you pretty much learn after this that there's a reason why he doesn't love his wife, because he likes, yeah. And it, like, that was very hard for me to read, and the worst part is that you um see everything that happens, like everything, and it's horrible. Like, it's really hard to get through. And so because the wife, again, she has no idea at first what's going on with her husband. She is cheating on him with some guy named Jay. And she's doing it because obviously at home her husband's not paying attention to her, but she doesn't know why yet. And she's kind of seeing this affair as a getaway, and I don't blame her, but at the end of the book, I was angry and I felt like I got slapped in the face. So she eventually finds out about the affair with the kid. And the worst part is that the student is also in her classroom too. And she confronts him about it. And I think at first he denies it. I haven't read this book in forever for obvious reasons. And at some point, the student confronts her and she beats her up. She beats up the teacher, and then she gets knocked out from all the blows. So the husband finds out about this, and he offers to help her to bury his wife because they assume she's dead, but she's not. She just got really injured. So they take the wife to bury out there in the middle of nowhere, and then the husband straight up just leaves the student there to fend for herself, proving he isn't a freaking coward as well, plus a monster. So the student is really pissed off, and she calls her best friend over in the book. He comes over, she tells him everything that happened, and yeah, he gives her a ride back home. Then the teacher digs out of her grave because, again, she wasn't dead. She just got knocked out really bad. She calls up Jay, and he comes to her rescue, the guy she's having an affair with. And she tells him everything that's happened, and he offers to stay with her to help her out. So they take revenge. Her husband, she finds out he was more of a monster than she thought because it wasn't just one student, it was another student that he had an affair with as well. So she realizes, my husband is a monster, I gotta take him down. So the wife, she's pretending to be dead, makes the husband go insane, and at some point they bury him alive. Her and her Jay, the dude she's having an affair with. So they bury him alive, and she gets her revenge. But you get a crazy twist at the end of the story, right? She's there staring at the grave of her husband. She's thinking to herself the day they first met. She was 15 years old when they met. Which confirms that he also, to her. And then the reason why he lost interest in her is because she got older. That was so disgusting to me when I found that twist out. So she also had been tricked by him to fall in love. They got married, and he didn't want to be with her anymore because she wasn't young. And that was so sick to me with that. That was disgusting, honestly. And then at the end of the story, the student gets a happy ending with her best friend. And she realizes, you know what, I'm very happy with him. And she realized that she was a victim. She was tricked into being with an adult. And she decided to be with her best friend instead. It was heavily implied they had feelings for each other. But then we get a second twist. And I felt like just total whiplash on me, man. I just didn't know what to think anymore after this book. I was brain dead after this. So, Jay is her best friend's name. And can you take a guess who Jay is? He's also a student. And he was having an affair with the main character, the wife, the mathematician. So, she was a monster herself. She was a monster herself. And I was just like, no way. So they were both victims, the student and her best friend, from this insane, disgusting couple. Like, I was just so angry with that twist. I was done after I was reading the story. And by the way, I finished this book in a day because I couldn't get over how sick it was. I just really wanted to know how it was going to end. And I just regretted reading it because it was so sick. I do consider it to be her scariest book by far, the author, because, again, it is reality horror. This horror does take place in real life, which is horrifying. And I had a hard time getting through the story. I really did. And it's one of the few books that defeated me by the end of it. It was just so disgusting. I just couldn't believe this, man. Like, and the main character, it was just total whiplash because you felt very sorry for her. And then with the first twist, I was like, man, she's a victim. But then toward the end of the book, I didn't know how to feel about her anymore. I saw her as a monster as well. Like, I don't know, man. The story was very uncomfortable to read. I will say that. I'm not sure if this book has a fan page or not. I really don't know. But if people say it's sick, I get it. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that did not like this book like I did. Because it's just really hard to get through. I wouldn't consider it her worst book. Because, look, when it comes to the writing, it's pretty good. The story itself is very sickening, though. But I have read 2 other books that were pretty bad. Because the twists were pretty awful. I gotta be honest there. But yeah, this book is really hard to get through. I would never ever tell anyone to read this story because it's just very sick, man. But yeah, this book is, I did regret reading. I really regret reading this story. And I don't ever say that when it comes to stories, but this one I deeply regretted. Okay guys, that's it for today. I'll see you with a brand new video very soon. Peace out.